Happening right now on Sports Extra. Look, we did it, guys. Baseball is finally back this week, and we've got you completely covered leading up to opening day. Plus, it was a short run for our teams in March Madness. Unfortunately, we're going to be breaking down what were the biggest issues for both Georgia and Georgia Tech.
I just appreciate being able to have the opportunity, and I just know what opening day is. It's just a lot of fun.
Tough day, for our program, for this team, for these two guys. Didn't see that coming, didn't anticipate that outcome, obviously, especially the first 10 minutes of the game.
It's a tough night for us. Couldn't find the basket. And I thought we had some good looks and just couldn't find the basket. I thought we lost some confidence down there, along the way. We have to learn from it and move on.
March Madness for some, March Sadness for others. But it is baseball season. Finally, everybody, my friends are here. Sports Extra, it starts now. What's up, guys? Thanks for staying up late with us. Welcome into Sports Extra, and this is the moment that we have all been waiting for. The Braves officially back this weekend. We all know I can't wait. Let's get right into it, and let me direct your attention to this. To no one's surprise, Chris Sale, he is this year's opening day starter. The reigning Cy Young winner will take the mound in San Diego on Thursday afternoon to kick off the 2025 campaign for the Braves. And even for a veteran like Chris Sale, opening day is always really special.
Obviously, once the year gets started, it's just playing games, but being out there for the first one special. It's like the first day of school. It's like Christmas Day for baseball. So opening day is always exciting, and I'm appreciative of the moment.
If you need anyone to talk about baseball, these two are your guys all season long. We got two of my really good friends here and two of the best in the business to talk everything Braves. On the far side, Grant McAuley from 92.9 The Game and from The Diamond. And of course, the new pregame and postgame host for the Braves Radio Network. Congratulations, by the way. Barrett, Sallee is in the house.
Thank you.
You excited for baseball?
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep very much.
No, you're
That's
not.
a good thing. That's a real good thing.
I can't confirm.
Confirmed. If you see Grant, you know there's Braves baseball, and now Barrett is going to join that repertoire as well. Grant, I want to start with you. You were down there in Florida a little bit. You've seen how the Braves look in spring training, but now we get a brand new season, a new opportunity. What do you like about what this opening day roster will look like?
Well, the number one thing I think we all have to like about it, and what the Braves are liking for the most part about it, is that guys are healthy and they're fired up. They are optimistic, and I felt like, a year ago, this time we were talking about the World Series aspirations of this club, but really, that's kind of all baked in. It's implicit at this point. They don't need to say it. They don't need to print bumper stickers or T-shirts or anything.
Why not?
Well, they can, and I'm sure people will buy them. Let's just put it that way. But Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back, Spencer Strider coming back, returning a Cy Young Award winner, I should say, in Chris Sale, and in Spencer Schwellenbach. And then you start to look up and down that lineup and think about what it can do if healthy. There's a lot to be excited about, and I think even the projections like the Braves as one of the top 3 teams in Major League Baseball. So add it all up, this is still a very good roster, even if there's been late additions and pieces that needed to be added before opening day.
They may not need bumper stickers because they have a tie so good in Grant McAuley's tie. This is the perfect tie for us to get started with baseball season. There we go.
Beautiful.
We got that nice shot thanks to OC. Okay, two guys that are back with the Braves. Jesse Chavez for a 6th time. Count it 6 times. That's wild. And Craig Kimbrell, who he started his career here in Atlanta. These are 2 pieces Grant had mentioned. A couple pieces starting to trickle in. How can these guys help?
Yeah, I think for Jesse, it's all about can he pitch now. We don't know if he can pitch now. Now, he pitched on Sunday, and it really did not go well, or at least as well as Braves fans and as Braves media members were used to seeing, because he always is lights out as a member of the Atlanta Braves. He was not on Sunday, but that doesn't mean that he won't have a chance. Now, he went to minor league camp after the game. We'll see if he can work things out. And for Craig Kimbrell, also sent to minor league camp after this game. And I've heard a lot of folks, Grant, talk about how, he's over the hill, he's washed, all this other stuff. He's not a closer. Like, he's not a closer. He is not signed to be a closer.
Right.
He can be a 6th inning guy, or at least we think he can. The Braves think he can. So it'll be fascinating to see in minor league camp what he's able to do and when the Braves trust him enough to bring him up, because I do believe it's a matter of when, if not if.
Grant, what do you think about that, especially with Kimbrel coming back. There were mixed reactions, I think, all over social media. How do you think he can contribute?
Well, if it wasn't social media, then we couldn't expect anything
That's
less
why
than
I gave
that.
you
But
that.
I will say this, a decade after being traded away on the eve of opening day to the San Diego Padres and a deal that brought Austin Riley back, no less, or the pick that became Austin Riley, it's fun to see, that road finally lead Craig Kimbrel back. But it is very different than the dominant ninth inning force that he was.
Yeah.
With 440 career saves, a lot of high leverage experience, I think the Braves would like to see him get into that mix somehow. Not so much the ninth inning, but there are a lot of important outs to get there. We've seen that the past few years. Low risk, high reward. I like this signing, and if it doesn't work, you can move on to the next option.
A couple of pieces that we're paying attention to. One, of course, coming on Sunday, Ian Anderson. He's one of the last remaining guys from this 2021 World Series team. We've seen this team slowly dissipate over the last couple seasons.
All to Anaheim.
Exactly. He's going to the Angels. There's a very lengthy list of former Braves now out there in Anaheim, California. So in return, the Braves are going to get Jose Suarez. What do you think about this, Barrett? Because it is in some ways a what could have been with Ian Anderson. He's a former first-round draft pick for the Braves, was stellar in the postseason at times, but he hasn't been able to be healthy and hasn't played really good baseball. So how do you view Ian's departure to California?
Well, first of all, he'll always be a legend because those 5 no-hit innings in Game 3 of the World Series were really the turning point of that World Series. If he hadn't done that, I don't think the Braves would have won it. But I think it was basically confirmation that the Braves didn't have a spot for him. He wasn't good enough to be a starter because he walked the planet. They tried him as reliever the last 2 times we saw him in spring training. He came out of the bullpen, and his stats, you look at his ERA, and you're like, oh, great, he was awesome. No, he had more walks in spring training than any other pitcher, and you can't be that. You can't do that if you're going to be a long reliever. So there's no spot for him. So go find a place where he can thrive, where he can get meaningful innings, and that is with the Angels, and try to get something in return. Now, I don't expect Suarez to do much of anything, but it just clears a roster spot for Kimbrel, or for Jesse Chavez, or whoever they need in that spot, because they simply couldn't keep him on the roster.
And Ian did all of those postseason stellar outings when he was really young, by the way, so that was one of the coolest parts of it. Let's go for some preseason predictions. We like to do this. We're way early into this thing. We haven't even started yet, but it's important that we get these done. Let's go preseason MVP. Grant, I'll start with you. Who is it?
I'm going to go with Austin Riley. I have called this guy an MVP contender for the past, 3-4 seasons. He is one of these guys that the Braves are counting on to show up big. He is, I think, reignited, if you will, after missing significant time last year. He told me it was the longest break he had away from the game, 14 weeks in a cast just to get back and healthy. Had the scare in spring training.
Yes.
Everybody dodged a bullet, himself included, but that is my MVP pick. I think he could lead the National League in home runs one of these years, and I'd like to see it in 2025.
I think we all would as well. Barrett, what about you?
Bright minds think alike. I don't know if that makes us bright or not, but I also think Austin Riley.
So.
I think 40 homers is kind of where he's going to be, and he's going to get a lot of pitches to hit. Look, in the first part of the first month of the season, he's probably going to be batting, second behind Profar. Ronnie comes back, he's probably going to be third. He's going to get a lot of pitches to hit. So as long as he stays healthy, and I know that's the disclaimer that you have to give to any Braves fan this time of year because nobody stayed healthy last year.
We lived through it.
He's going to be a big piece. I think he could definitely be an MVP.
Okay, I'll speed it up really quickly. They both picked Austin Riley, so I had to go with someone else. That's just how this works. And I'm going to go with Michael Harris because when he returned from injury last year, 51 hits in 43 games, we see flashes of greatness from him all the time. All of those crazy moves that he makes in the outfield. I think this is his Gold Glove year, and I think that it's going to happen for sure. All right, let's go to the Cy Young Award winner preseason predictions. Grant, yours?
I'm going to make this quick, sweet, to the point. Spencer Schwellenbach, I think, is going to have a huge season this year, and I am doing the thing that I hate so much, and that is putting too much expectation on a young player. But what I saw last year told me that he is capable and maybe wise beyond his years. This guy dabbled with 6 different pitches, and keep in mind, when he was drafted, he was primarily a shortstop in college. He just did a little bit of closing, so that is my pick. I think there are big things ahead for this particular Spencer, though another one could also impress us.
By the way, the caveat that I gave them was you can't pick Chris Sale. So if you're scratching your head at Grant, wondering, wait a second, why couldn't you pick Chris? It's because I said that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Triple Crown winner at Cy Young. I'm going to go. No, I'm going to go with Spencer Schwellenbach too. Again, bright minds think alike. I don't know what that makes us either. But Schwellenbach, 10 strikeouts last time he was out in spring training. Don't take much from spring training stats. except if a guy throws for 10 strikeouts in a game that has a lot of starters for the opposite team. So, yeah, I'll take Sallee, like Grant said, 6 pitches. He mixes them up great. It's not like he's afraid of one. All of them are under 20%, but all of them are also above 8%.
Yep, great mix.
That's a really big deal for a guy so young.
Okay, once again, they both picked the same thing, so I have to pivot. I'm going to pick another Spencer Strider, because when he returns, I think we all know exactly the kind of pitcher that Spencer Strider can be, and we saw he looks really good just in his one outing back, and it was such a great reminder of what a pitcher he can be. 281 strikeouts in 2023. We are chomping at the bit to get this guy back on the hill, and whenever he is healthy, I think it's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about preseason record. What do you think their overall record will be, Grant?
Overall record, I'm going to go 96 wins, 66 losses. I believe this is a club that won 89 games last year, even though they were beat up and basically had to just drag themselves, will themselves across the finish line there. Chris Sale said we had no business being in the postseason, but we got there anyway. It speaks to what this club has to offer. I think that they're capable of winning 95 plus, so I'm going to go with 96.
Nice. Barrett, what about you?
You went 96. I think they're going to lose one of those rain-out games, make-up games. So I'm saying 95 and 67. Seriously, that's what it said. We didn't plan this, but 95 and 67, they're going to win the National League East. I'm more worried about the Phillies than I am the Mets, because after about the 5th spot in the Mets order, it takes a nosedive. They're not nearly as threatening top to bottom as the Phillies, so 95 and 67.
I'll go a hair nicer, just a hair. I'm going to go 97 and 65. I like the fact that they're not printing bumper stickers and coffee mugs and waving a flag around town saying we're going to win the World Series. I think it could go in their favor, and they could win a few more games, caveat being if they
stay
healthy. Yep. Exactly. That's the narrative for this year for sure, guys. Thank you so much. Coming up, it was one and done, unfortunately, for our local teams in March Madness. We'll break down what went wrong with the ladies and the men. That's next. Barrett back with me to talk about some hoops. I want to check in on your bracket. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Are you?
This might be a surprise. I have Auburn winning the national championship. It's not a homer pick. They're actually really good at basketball. It's a real thing.
Number 1 overall seeds are hard to...
I'm not being a homer.
Listen.
A little bit of a homer.
I think you were. I didn't pick the Rebels to win it all because I'm a realist. But hey, Auburn, I think, definitely could. One thing that was really tough for Georgia basketball is they had a very difficult draw in the first round.
Yeah.
Awesome that they got into the NCAA tournament, but when you get Gonzaga, who has a ton of tournament experience, that's an uphill battle. However, this year, Mike White and company, there's a lot to build on from this year. What can they take away from it?
Well, there absolutely is. I mean, Gonzaga was the worst misseeded team in the entire tournament.
Yeah.
They're top 10 in basically everything, including net ranking, and they get an 8 seed. That's just unfair to Georgia. There's a lot to take away from this. First off, you got Asa Newell to begin with. Last offseason, that's huge because you can recruit. Mike White has done that at an elite level. And then, second of all, you just made the tournament. You were supposed to lose to Gonzaga. Maybe not that way, but you were supposed to lose to Gonzaga. So just throw it away, wash it out. Don't forget how it happened. Just know that it was there. You actually played. That's a step forward. And in an SEC, keep taking small steps forward. If you do that, you can join the ranks of the Auburns, the Floridas, the Tennessees. That's how you have to do it these days.
Sorry to break it to you. I picked Florida to win it all.
We can't be friends anymore.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, our friendship was
They didn't look good. They didn't look good today.
Okay. Anyways, Barrett, let's talk about the Georgia Tech women. Unfortunately for them, they also lost in the first round of the NCAA women's tournament. And I was a little bit shocked by this first round exit for Georgia Tech. I thought at least they could get that win over Richmond and then potentially face someone even more dangerous in the second round. But this was a very good season for them. They started 15-0. Made a strong statement, and they made it to the tournament. What can they do with Nell Fortner to build upon this and move forward?
Well, it's almost the exact same analysis, right? You start 15-0, you have experience coming back for the top 6 scorers. So in women's basketball, there's a first tier, and then there's a Grand Canyon, then the second tier. That's just how it is. All the talent is stacked at the top teams like the South Carolinas. So for Georgia Tech, they have an opportunity anyway, being in Atlanta, to really gain momentum. So to get that 15-0 start, to be noticed by the basketball world, and to get to the tournament, that's all you need to do. There's a lot of positives to take away from it. It might take a little while because, again, more difficult in women's college basketball to become a national champion than I think in men's basketball. But again, small steps, small steps, small steps. And in the NIL world, if you're a women's college basketball player and you're in the city of Atlanta, there are a lot of opportunities for you.
Yeah, you're right. And there's a lot of parity in women's college basketball. But I do think this is a young team. They'll bounce back. They'll be fine. Also, Georgia Tech men, speaking of bounced, first round of the NIT was not pretty for them. Jacksonville State came here to Atlanta. They beat the roof off of that place. This was tricky because Damon Stoudemire afterwards, he had a lot of very, I'm going to say, interesting comments towards his team and the future of his team in the way that the NIT was handled in the first round. What did you take away from that, and what's next for Georgia Tech men?
Well, it's lighting a fire under every single player on that team.
Yeah.
Because, okay, they didn't make the NCAA tournament. You make the NIT, you find out a lot about your guys. You find out if they want to be there, if they enjoy playing for each other, if they enjoy playing for the number or the word on the front of their jersey, not the one on the back.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to play at all. I think it was clear. Jacksonville State really wanted to play. Georgia Tech wanted nothing to do with this. And so for Damon Stoudemire, I think he's got to look in the mirror and look at his players as well and think, are you the guys that can do this? Are you the guys that can bring me to the NCAA tournament in a down ACC? The way they played in the NIT, the answer is probably no, because they didn't want to be there. They didn't want to play for Georgia Tech at all. That's concerning. So I think everything he said about his team is 100% correct, and also what it did around the country is swing that door wide open to every single player and say, hey, you want to come play in Atlanta? You want to come play in the ACC? You want to come play with a coach as historically great as me, both as a coach and also as a player?
Yeah.
Come on down.
And they like that energy, and the fact that he was fired up and honest, I think, will resonate with a lot of players. Just they need something else to resonate, because that was not a good look in the NIT. Barrett, thank you very much. A very exciting finish to the Valspar Championship that you saw right here on 11 Alive. Victor Hovland with a one-shot lead on 18 with the errant tee shot. There it is, opening up the door for Justin Thomas, who with this par putt, who we will see next. Justin Thomas had a very busy schedule, took a break obviously, and what he's doing there in Palm Beach to do this par putt could have kept him at 11 under. Very frustrating. Barrett knows how evil golf can be sometimes. He had to settle for a bogey, drops him to 10 under, and this was big because obviously there he is, Victor Hovland, ending up settling for a bogey himself, so he drops to 11 under, but a single stroke ahead of Thomas as Hovland wins the tournament.
Slice into the woods. I know exactly how that feels. Like that is my jam right there. Hey, you know what? If he can slice it in the woods on 18 and still win, I'm going to get my PGA Tour card.
We're going to keep you to that, and I'm going to show you some highlights of his golf play later on. Also coming up, Grant is here, so you know what that means. Our very first Grant's Game Changers of the year. That's coming your way after the break. You don't want to miss it. All right, here we go. Our very first Grant's Game Changers of the season. How are we feeling?
We're feeling good. We're ready. Countdown is on.
We're feeling
almost over.
Yes, and we're feeling like we need some game changers. So you're going to tell us, yes, exactly, who is going to be a game changer for the Braves. Let's start easy. A new addition for the Braves this year that everyone's excited to see, not only how he hits, but how he looks in the outfield. Jurickson Profar. Why is a game changer?
Yeah, let's lead off with the guy who's going to be leading off before the Braves get Ronald Acuna Jr. back, and it is a gentleman coming off an all-star season, a career year. And the Braves are going to need him to pick up right where he left off and do it for at least the next 3 years, because that's the contract that he signed. $380 on base. That makes him, I think, ideal for the leadoff spot, maybe a little bit more than an Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris timeshare that we saw last year. But this is a guy that also has power and can slot in left field and played 158 games last year. Alex Anthopoulos said that's one of the things we like the most about him. In addition to all the great things he did at the plate, he's an everyday player, and you know the Braves love those.
Hopefully what he did in the West Coast can translate to the East Coast. That's what we want.
3 hours sooner.
That's also a wonderful thing. You mentioned one of your next game changers. Yeah. He's had some issues with some injuries over the last couple of years, but Ozzie Albies is a staple in this infield. Why is he a game changer?
He is, and still just 28 years old. I had to just do a double take, because this is a guy that should be entering the prime of his career, and what he's done to this point when healthy is be one of the best hitting offensive middle infielders in baseball. Not just second baseman, but second baseman, shortstop. I'm lumping them all together. 30 homers, 100 RBI potential for this guy. He doesn't look like it when you just walk up to him. You may not think so, but he's got to be healthy. The broken bones last year, particularly the wrist, that was pretty scary. Missed 63 games. You get him back in there, you get him healthy. In 2023, it was 30 and 100. and a career year for him.
Yeah.
He's capable of it. It's in there, and the Braves can certainly use it from one of the guys that needs to be healthy for them to do what they want to do this season.
Underrated, underappreciated when he is healthy. Yep. Let's move on to our next game changer, a guy who is one of the very few remaining relievers from that 2021 World Series run, Dylan Lee. Why can he be a game changer?
Well, when you make your first major league start in the World Series, you certainly have to, come in and do something else to really back that legend up. But all jokes aside, Dylan Lee was one of the Braves' best and most consistent relievers a year ago. They're losing A.J. Minter, who to me was kind of the conscience of that bullpen. He was a guy that you really depended on. They need a lefty with big strikeout stuff, 11.5 punch-outs per 9 last year, ERA just over 2, career high in appearances. They're going to ask him to do it again, as the kids would say, run it back. And they need some good appearances from Dylan Lee to give them stability getting to Raisel Iglesias in the 9th inning.
I'm excited about your run it back reference.
There it is.
We're hoping,
kids are saying it, right?
We're hoping that Dylan Lee can do that for sure. Speaking of someone who we definitely won't see him on opening day, Sean Murphy. He's coming back from that cracked rib injury. Yep. He has some very strong statements about how he can return and make a statement. Why do you think he's a game changer?
Yeah, and he believes this injury is going to be easier to get over than the oblique, where all you can do is basically just sit around. But Sean Murphy was brought over to be one of the big pieces of this Braves club for a number of years to come. He's a great receiver. He can also do a lot with the bat, but he's got to be healthy. I don't know if you've heard that before on this show or all of last year, but this is somebody that very much worked hard to get himself back into 2025 and get that back on track. Braves are banking on him making the majority of the starts behind the plate. We'll see a little Drake Baldwin. We need to see a lot of Sean Murphy, the former All-Star, to get back on track in his career so the Braves can get on their track to 96 wins, 97 wins, maybe more. We'll find out, but they need Sean Murphy to do it.
Didn't start the health thing, right? We tried to tell him, stay healthy, but he's going to get there, and hopefully he can be a game changer like Grant said. Grant, thank you so much. Looking forward to much more of that this year. All right, guys, stay with us. Maria's Minute is next. Maria's Minute this evening has us taking a look at the frustrations felt by college basketball coaches around the country when it comes to those transfer portal dates. Take a listen to Coach John Calipari's reaction.
Welcome to my world. So Monday, we're really preparing for a game, and we're having individual meetings about, are you coming back, or if they put their name in the portal, they probably don't have an option to come back.
First of all, I think Coach Cal was very well aware that the transfer portal does open on Monday. I believe he did that to make a point. Look, it's absurd that there are teams preparing for the Sweet 16 and have simultaneous obligations of maintaining and building upon those successful rosters. Football coaches deal with this too. There has to be a better solution than opening the floodgates and trying to win a championship at the same time. Coach Cal also alluded that the way things are going, it may seem as though it's the player's choice, but that won't always be the case. Guys, thanks for watching each and every Sunday. We will see you next weekend, and enjoy opening day. Welcome back, baseball. Have a great week, everybody.